Next time it'll be summer. Next time it'll be summer.
What year will it be then? I'm gonna start, damn it.
Mm-hmm. Talking warms you up.
Shit. Yeah, my hot air blows back into my face. Ready?
Yes.
Hi, huge movie fanatics, coming back at you with a review that I know one certain Cookie Monster, I can't remember, sorry buddy, I can't remember the number, but whatever, a certain Cookie Monster on YouTube has been interested to know what I think of this movie, and we might as well let him know what we think of this movie, which is we're doing our very overly late review, probably the last review ever to be uploaded of this movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. So I just rewatched this, I think the night before last, and seen it maybe 3 times now, 4 or something like that. And you know, I remember thinking back to, I haven't even seen you since the trailer for this movie came out, so we didn't talk about it or anything like that. But I remember thinking, I think I talked about it, I can't remember. But anyway, regardless whether I talked about it on this channel or not, I remember thinking, you know, that trailer looks cool because it looks just so funny. Yeah. You know, and it's not so much. One of my biggest problems about all these summer movies and horror movies and all this stuff is just kind of like the post-Dark Knight or whatever
The
shit.
complete lack of sense of humor.
And just, yeah, and just depressing, dark, bleh. You know, kind of like the 70s with all those freaking movies where, I can't remember what they call them, when everything goes wrong. Like, what do they call them?
The disaster
movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, give me a break. Oh,
Yeah.
the Inferno is...
The towering Inferno.
The Inferno Tower, yeah, it's burning up. So, and the earthquakes, Poseidon Adventure, oh, we're drowned.
I remember when the trailer came out, I was like blown away with the trailer because there was so much levity to it.
What's
like
levity mean?
It was funny, like it was light. It didn't seem it seemed like it packed an attitude, and it wasn't going to be like every other.
It almost seemed like something from the 80s or something.
Yeah, and I mean it was going for that aesthetic feel to follow the character, who's clearly like pulled out in '88 or whatever they say in the beginning of the movie.
'88, yeah. Long story short. I like having rewatched it. I was kind of, we'll just say, yeah. I will just say what I like the least about it, which is the bad guys. I'm afraid. To me, if you took the bad guys out of this movie, it'd be so much. Or if you had different bad guys, because the good guys are so fun that it makes the bad guys just seem even less fun. Like if the good guys weren't as fun, the bad guys wouldn't be. I wouldn't have as much of a problem with them. But since the good guys are so fun, it's like the bad guys. I don't give a shit about just standing around. I'm gonna take my power to the next level. I just hate that. And then whenever it cuts to a bad, I'm like, shit. They cut to an exterior of that dumb ship that goes at the end, and I'm like, oh great, bad guy scene. I don't skip it. I watch the damn thing, but it's just like, oh great, he's gonna talk tough.
I will say, for all the Marvel movies, the bad guys are the biggest problem, and that's because they're all kind of one-note villains, with the exception of Loki, who's the only one who has personality. Like he's the only person who has a lightness to it. He's able to joke and be funny, but also be dark and sinister. And you got that a little bit with Jeff Bridges in the first Iron Man, but Whiplash in the second Iron Man movie is just like, I'm Russian and I'm villain, and that's the extent of his character, and he's on a revenge mission, and all of them are on damn revenge missions, the second Thor, the villain in it, was interchangeable with the villain in Guardians of the Galaxy. Like they could be the same character. They had no development. They looked similar. One was blue, one was white. That was pretty much the difference, and there was no character at all. Yeah. This guy had a cool name. I liked Ronan. Sounded like tough. And he is from the comics and stuff, which is kind of cool seeing.
Yeah, but that's my biggest complaint with the movie is the damn flippin' bad guys. They had such strong, fun to watch and fun to be with good guys that they really should have tried to come up with better bad guys. That's my only complaint. It's really not that big a deal. I mean, obviously, the movie opens on, when you start a movie, when you can start a movie so strong to pull someone in like that.
That opening scene is so powerful.
And it's kind of cool how they saved the Marvel logo for after.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's kind of like you're blown away and it's like, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and then you cut to whatever planet or whatever. So,
Yeah.
and then we cut to the same character, which we
Yeah.
don't necessarily know until he puts the
headphones on.
the Walkman on his belt or whatever, which is a perfect way to say, okay, this is him, without
Yeah.
saying it. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't want to do a bit by bit on the whole movie. Long story short, for me, one of my favorite, I can't remember if I had a favorite last year. He disappeared. Since we stopped doing our best and worst of, I don't really consciously think about what I like most and least and whatever anymore. But definitely one of the better, well, it might be, I don't know, I don't even remember what came out last year other than,
There was not a whole lot of great
it very
things.
well could be my favorite summer. Like I say, I don't see as many movies as he does. It very well could be. I don't remember, but it could be certainly one of my favorite summer movies of last year. Fantastic. The humor, for me, humor is really touchy, and humor can just be really shitty and can suck. And this humor is really kind of my kind of humor. And like I was saying before, in the trailer, I could really tell that, wow, this humor is pretty cool, especially for like a big, huge Marvel blockbuster movie. So I'm running dry. Why don't I kick it off to you, kind of like what's his name does, the dance off, and then I'll probably talk more and do stars.
I like this movie quite a bit. I was really excited from it based on its trailer. Also, I'm a fan of the Marvel movies and whatnot, though I do have a problem with some of them. One of them that we just talked about is the villains tend to be really lacking. Another one that I have a problem with is the sense of humor. This doesn't fall into the sense of humor problem. This definitely has a nice, solid attitude, and it's a consistent tone throughout, which I thought was kind of flaw with Thor 2 was like it tries to be really funny, but it's also really dark, and there's no consistent tone. I think this and the Avengers have the most consistent, and the first Iron Man have the most consistent tone in terms of balancing funny and gritty. And then my biggest problem with all these damn movies is too many fake out deaths. Groot gets killed off in this, and then Groot's not actually dead. He growing.
Yeah. Who else?
Like in every single in the first Iron Man, like there's that fake out where Tony's hanging on the thing, and he's like, "Just do it," and she's like, "You'll die," and then he's like, "Just do it," and then it goes out and his light flickers and it turns off, and you're like, "Oh no, he died," and then it's like, "Oh no, he's there,"
Okay.
and then they do it again with Iron Man and in the Avengers, which worked for me in that, especially since they carried that through into Iron Man 3 really well. Like the whole fact that he did die, but he is back, and what is he doing with himself now that he has night terrors and stuff. But they did it at the end of Thor. They did it in Thor 2 with, I don't know if you've seen that.
I think 2 is the only one I haven't seen.
They do it with Loki in Thor 2. They do it with like fucking every character in Captain America 2, like is killed but not. I swear, obviously they do it with Nick Fury, but they have Black Widow shoot herself or whatever in the chest, and like you're meant to think it might be a lethal blow. They do it with Bucky. I forgot about Bucky. In Captain America, he gets shot in the like several times at the end of that second one. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Captain America 2 quite a bit, but like that's a damn flaw. And I know that the Avengers 2 is going to do it because I've read the comics. I know exactly who they're going to do it to and what's going to happen. The difference is that character actually, I'm assuming, I haven't seen Avengers 2, but like that character stays dead but comes back, and he's not actually that character, but he kind of is. Like it's going to be the same actor, he's going to be a different character with the same body. But that's a problem that I'm having. They need to keep these characters dead. The one character they kept dead was Coulson, and he has a fucking TV show now. And I mean, it's a good TV show. Don't get me wrong. I like that, but if you're gonna kill people, kill them. Like, I mean, death. That's what I liked about the Harry Potter series is like if a character died, they never came back. Like they might have shown up in like a picture or something, but death is death. You don't come back from it, and that really bothers me with these. And it's all of the damn Marvel movies, and I love them. But anyway,
Back
Guardians.
Holy shit!
Tangent time.
How long did that last?
Sorry,
like kids.
4-minute tangent on the Marvel problem, but this movie I think really gels with its sense of humor. The characters are all like insanely well drawn out. When going into this movie, I had no interest in the character of Drax. Like what a lame character, even in the comics.
Who's that?
He's the gray guy with the red. I'm like, what a lame character.
Funny?
And then all of a sudden in the movie, he's like so fantastic, and I was just completely drawn to his character.
Nothing goes over my head.
Yeah, and perfect delivery in that line. I will say that guy, man, hats off to you. And then like the Rocket Raccoon, like they made a believable character out of a fucking raccoon with a like machine gun. That was really neat. And the tree, and Gamora is the only one that's a little flat. She's the green chick from Avatar, playing yet another
Different
alien.
color.
Yeah. The only sci-fi movie she's in regular like skin tone is Star Trek.
Oh yeah.
But
sorry if there's wind, can't help it.
yeah, but so I really dug Guardians at the end of the day with its couple of flaws. The other flaw was, speaking of villains, you have two flat villains. You have Ronan and you have Thanos, which they've just been sitting on since the Avengers.
Is that the first time you've seen him since the end of
Yeah,
Avengers?
since the end of the Avengers. And I mean, I'm assuming he'll show up in Avengers 2, but he probably isn't going to have any more character.
You just do a FaceTime with someone.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I'm collecting rings, because he's collecting those damn stones. He's got 3, presumably, by this point. So, but I like Guardians. There's so many great scenes. That opening scene and then the closing act where it all comes together. The self-sacrifice of Groot, the Guardians actually coming together and holding hands and stuff was fantastic. It was really well done. I liked all the side characters. John C. Reilly always makes me laugh. So it was really cool. And they were introducing the whole Nova Corps. If you've read the comics, the Nova Corps is a really big player in the story, and will eventually introduce Nova, who's one of my favorite Marvel characters. So I'm looking forward to what Guardians 2 has to offer. I'll give this one 3.5 stars. It was the best of the Phase 2 lineup, I think, without question.
Who was that guy who played the Collector?
Benicio del Toro.
Isn't that the guy we said should have been Khan?
Yeah, he was originally cast as Khan and turned it down afterwards, presumably for this, I would imagine. But
I thought, for some reason, that scene with him in this reminded me of Blade Runner.
I could see that.
Yeah, it reminded me of a character in Blade Runner. I thought he was great in this, and he was in it for way too... I liked that character and his portrayal, and it was in it for
I would imagine he'll come back.
Too little.
They cast a big name actor for that small little role. Yeah. He would come back for that.
And I love the whole idea and the production design of Nowhere. It reminded me. Have you seen the Transformers animated movie yet? No.
Years ago.
Oh, it reminded me of the head of, or whatever. Orson Welles played that huge planet that devoured. Because at the end he turns into a robot or whatever, and they go into his head and stuff. But I thought that was a great idea, and obviously we didn't talk about the music, which is fantastic.
Oh, the music is great
in the movie. My biggest problem, besides the bad guys, with the movie as it plays out, is the part I didn't like when that part who's all, or that character who's all literal or whatever, they're at nowhere and he calls the bad guys to come get them. It's just like, I don't know why they did that. It was so dumb. Yeah,
I mean, I feel like that was Marvel Studios saying, there should be an action beat here.
Yeah, but they could have done it with, it seemed like another thing I don't want to forget to mention is Michael Rooker, man. This guy's like not
He's so cool.
aging. Like, usually people's faces, they get fat, they get skinny, they get something. And it's just the same. And that casting for that character, and him in that character,
he was really
so
creepy.
Great.
And
but
what
I
also
love,
a good guy, kind of.
I love as the scenes go on, the very first scene, all we see is him just pull the jacket out, and we see a shot of, we don't even know necessarily what.
Yeah.
And then the next scene, I think it actually whistles it out and goes in front of the guy. So we see this cool progression throughout the scenes of this weapon until finally at the end when he's gunned down or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's what's so cool is it's kind of like Orson Welles barely being in the movie The Third Man. It's like he only uses it once, I think, in the movie to kill people, but it seems because we built it up, it's like, oh wow, it just has this impact when it goes through everyone.
Yeah,
into
that
the
is such a
ship
cool
and
scene.
comes out and all that. I kind of think the only thing, this is just being incredibly picky, that him catching it maybe if it would have just went back into his thing would have been better. But and then all the people, of course, just fall at the same
Dropping,
time.
yeah.
But he was, I want to forget to say, he was fantastic. And like
Yeah,
you
I
say,
forgot.
like a good guy, that bad guy flip-flop, you never knew what the hell he was doing.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
you see him in the beginning, he's blue and evil looking, and you're like, surely he's going to be one of the villains of this, and he comes out on the side of the good guys taking out the villains, and it was just kind of fun, and it was believable too. So, I was really impressed. This was the best of the Marvel Phase 2 movies, I think, without a doubt.
the thing about the very end was it's kind of like, if you were just showing me the script, I'd be like, the very end with the kind of whatever, Death Star, just the battle with various things, and we're going back and forth. It's kind of by the numbers, and even when I rewatch it, I'm kind of like, but it's done in a way that it's by the numbers and structurally, but for some reason, it's more enjoyable for me. It doesn't play like by the numbers for me.
Yeah.
The last action scene where we're going to fight with what's her name inside, and this happened and there and that. I guess it's just something about it just works enough for me to just be. I'm going to go 3 1/4 stars for Guardians of the Galaxy. One of the, like I say, best movies in my opinion or best summer movies of last year.
Yeah.
So I guess that pretty much does it for me.
Yeah, does it for me too.
That's what we think about Guardians.
I'm excited
of the
for number 2.
Galaxy. When's that supposed to come out?
I don't know. Their whole lineup is crazy.
It goes
frenetic.
into like
It goes
2019.
Yeah, 2019 with the end of Avengers 2.
When does the whole shit end? And not until it stops making money, I suppose.
Presumably, they only have it mapped out through the end of Phase 3, which is the 2-part Avengers finale thing. Which that story is really good. The Civil War story, which they're following up Avengers 2 with, is Civil War. That's one of my favorite stories in the comics, and so I'm really excited for that. And the fact that they have so many characters in it, it's as if they're making Avengers 3, but just calling it Captain America 3, which is so weird. But there's 5 Avengers already slated to be in that movie.
What?
Captain America 3.
Huh.
So, and I'm excited for that one the most.
What?
Captain America 3. Just because that storyline in the comics is so damn good. So, but Guardians, I think, is sometime 2017 or 18.
Oh man.
It's only 2 years away. I'm fine with waiting. As you've said, the superheroes have gotten a little out of control. They're just coming out too often, and they're too similar to each other now. That's my problem with them. There's not enough differentiation. If they made more like this, in that not like this, but like this, in that they were taking
making
chances.
them like this, then it'd be the same thing. Yeah.
No, taking
I
chances,
see what
going
you're
outside
saying.
of the box.
Yeah.
So, there you have it.
Very cool. Thank you very much for watching, and we will catch you next time.